This episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Retrovision. Shop with the confidence that you're getting the best price on offer. And Safety Compliance Global, taking care of all your safety requirements. Thank you for supporting local.
Yes, a big couch coming up today, episode 776. We have got, music-wise, we've got Joshua Aston performing for us, a wonderful young talent. Bitchin is back with our panel today. We're talking a lot of news topics. Talking travel, Steve Collins, and he's also got a show in the Darwin area, which we'd love you to go and support. We'll talk to him very soon. Ranger Red is coming in. We've also got Paul Elwin coming in to talk streaming. And later on, we talk about the Kind-Hearted Australia quiz night that's coming up with Alexander and Victoria. Big Couch, episode 776 starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can watch it from your house. It's showtime on the couch. With Fred and the best in town. Oh, it's showtime on the couch.
Hello Australia, welcome to another episode of The Couch. Hope you can stick around for the next hour. Coming to you from the wonderful eastern suburb of Ellenbrook, from the Ellenbrook Secondary College. Media 3, this is where our studio is, and we welcome you all around Australia. Thank you for watching us on YouTube, Foxtel, and also on Facebook, and on C31 and C44. C44 in Adelaide, C31 in Melbourne. Thank you for your company. Let's get straight into it. Bitchin is up first.
'Cause I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. Baby, I'ma have the best freaking night of my life.
Thank you very much. We've also got Alexander Sacosta, entertainer, Seven personality and employee of the Seven Network. Thank you. And Bernadette Marie, welcome.
Hello.
She's a new presenter doing Talking Fashion on the Couch. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice to have you all here. We've got three wonderful topics today. We're going to start with you, Bernadette.
Good.
What's your topic?
Glad you're starting with me. Today we are talking corner shops are cool again. Now, I really believe this because I just think it brings back that sense of community. You know, it's nice to have options. It's nice not to have to drive down to the big shopping centres.
Do you remember the old corner shop? Does everyone remember the corner? Are we
do.
all
I
old
don't.
enough
I was
to-
too young.
Oh,
What's a corner?
I knew there had to be one that would say, "What's a corner shop?"
Oh,
What's a
gosh.
shop? What's a corner?
I remember
What do you
them,
remember,
Fred.
Bernadette, about the
I
corner
remember
shop?
the mixed bag of lollies. I remember your parents sending you down, just go and grab me a quick, sugar or something.
Yeah.
And it was just so cool to have that option of just, being a kid and walking down to the shops.
It's really weird. Like, I remember on a Saturday and Sunday especially, they'd send you down to get the milk or the
Yeah.
coffee or the cheese, or someone would just roll up and Mum would say, "Go and get some more bread."
Yeah.
Or I used to go and buy the cashew nuts at our little corner
Or the
deli.
afternoon paper. I used to go get that for my grandfather.
Yeah.
When we used to have an afternoon newspaper.
It was a convenience,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
And we all grew up with the corner shop, and it was like a place to meet.
Yeah.
And usually they were Italians. I'm
Yeah.
not being discriminative here, but usually Europeans, let's say, that
Yeah.
used to run it, and you'd go and see Pietro or Nick or whoever it was, and they used to sell you the cold meats and the cheese.
Yeah.
And back then, the delis weren't that expensive.
Exactly. And usually it was somebody's house as well. Like it was, their house, and then they
Yep,
had a little
at
shop
the
in the
back.
front or the back.
Now it's
or,
become the house,
Yeah.
basically.
Mine is one of those.
Yep.
Yes.
Isn't
Yeah.
it funny?
Yeah.
That's so
yeah.
So what do you remember about the corner deli, Susan?
I remember my grandparents living just a few doors down from one, so we used to pop down to just get the paper. That was the big thing. That
Yeah.
was a daily ritual. You had to get the paper. But yeah, running out of milk was not a problem. Everything was just there. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So-
And the corner deli was always, I think, the place for little treats, because I remember getting, like you said, Bernadette, the little bananas and the
Yeah.
little lollies. And does anyone remember, someone's going to say, no, I don't remember that. Remember the little lollipops that looked like a little strawberry and they were covered with sugar? Does anyone remember those?
That's where you say you don't. You
Was that in the 1930s?
Yes. Not before Chopper Chops, But there was always something for everyone.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
loved growing up in a time where a lot of the young kids don't have that anymore, because you go to Coles, it's like a robot now. Everything's,
Do you think
mass-produced.
we've made things more complicated now by doing click and collect? It's a home delivery.
Technology has definitely
it's just
improved, but also
easier.
ruined the culture and society.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we talk to each other much anymore.
No.
I mean, do you remember we'd go to the deli and we'd say, "Hey, Nick, can you order me in a block of cheese?" And Nick would order it in, and they'd say, "We'll be in here on Wednesday." You'd go and pick it up. Now you basically go to Coles and Woolworths, and there's 50,000 types of cheese, and you don't have to order
That's
anything.
if you go to Coles, because as you said, you can do the
Exactly.
click and collect.
Correct.
So you can
And,
get around all of that.
And now most of the corner delis have been converted into apartments, cafes, but also a lot of it just become the house. They've turned them into apartments and houses, which is a bit sad. But are they talking about, the story was about bringing them back. Is that here in Queensland?
Yeah, it says
Melbourne.
10 new delis with a difference in Melbourne.
So Melbourne,
Yeah.
well done to our people in Melbourne. I think it's a great idea, bringing back a bit of culture, and it's cosmopolitan. It's a great place to go on a Saturday night, place for
Yeah.
maybe just to have a coffee and a cake. The old, lovely pasticities. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yes.
Alexander, what have you got for us?
Thank you, Fred. Well, following along from that beautiful story about more delis, so this is allegedly a Perth woman pleaded guilty to faking her own death
Allegedly
to claim life.
guilty.
Allegedly guilty. So she not claiming life insurance payments. So she actually managed to get $718,000
I saw that on
from an
Current
insurance
Affair.
company by basically defrauding them, allegedly defrauding them. Karen, ironic name.
Is that her name?
That is her name.
Now, this is a lady from allegedly F45 gymnasium, or she runs one of those gym places.
Yes, allegedly.
Channel 9 broke the story the other night, and Channel 9 basically, Michael Stamp, good friend of mine from 6PR, he went out and chased her down the street and basically said to her, "So, how did you fake your death?" And she was pretending she knew nothing about it.
What a pro,
And
Fred.
she was making it. And then he followed her all the way home, I guess, and she then accused him of trying to send her bankrupt with F45 and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what did she actually do? She
Well,
faked
she
her death?
falsified the death certificate and then managed to put that through, and a record of investigation into the death went through as well through the coroner. So then they actually did transfer the money into her partner's account.
$800,000, $818,000.
I mean,
think
in
it
this
was.
economy, $718,000.
But you know what she did that really stuffed her up? She opened up the account in her partner's name. Then she thought, after a few days of getting the money, she went and transferred it into her own account. Little by little, she transferred about $500,000. The bank got suspicious, so they cut off the access. So for her to be able to activate the rest of the money, she had to have like a proof of life. So to do that, she had to go to the police.
I'm alive.
And she got documents allegedly from the police that confirmed that she was alive, but then she falsified those documents because obviously she wasn't alive. So I don't know what she did, but basically someone dobbed her in and she got done for allegedly fraud. And she has appeared in court, I believe. They're just waiting to hand down.
The district court, yes.
I think they're saying she could face 10 years jail.
You know
Now,
what? Worth it, Fred.
Would you fake would you fake your own life? Would you? I mean,
to
look,
get out of something? Yeah, probably.
Really?
Depends how much I wanted to get out of it.
But if you're going to say you're dead, you want to stay dead for a while.
Yeah, and you also want to know if your friends actually cared about you. If they're like flowers, come, messages on the Facebook wall. And if you don't get anything, you're like, oh yeah.
It's
You're
a
not getting
huge effort to go to just to see if you've got loyal friends.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what makes me a little bit annoyed with her is that she wanted to be dead, but everybody else knew that she was alive. So she was very clever because the only people that knew that she had passed away was the insurance company. So she thought she could play the bluff until she got the money and then be alive again, and nobody else, the bank wouldn't know because the bank didn't know that she died. The bank just thought, oh, it's in her partner's account. And then they just thought, suspicious, someone's trying to take out all this money.
That just means how easy it was, though. How quickly it's like, oh yeah, she's dead. Here's the money. Meanwhile, you like crash your car slightly. They're like, photos, ring. I want every bit of evidence you have
Exactly.
possible.
Well, that's what
That's
happened.
insurance
Look,
companies,
I
but
had
not
a-
the ones that sponsor our show.
I had a situation only a few weeks ago with Bank West where I'll name and shame them. They basically, I put some money in there that had a really good interest rate,
Yeah.
and I wasn't very happy with them because they wouldn't give me a credit card. So I said, "Oh, stuff you, I'll move my money back to Westpac." They wouldn't let me move it. They actually locked the account and thought that I was money laundering, even though the money came electronically from another bank. How can you money launder if it's not cash?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I
they
would money
locked
launder
my
through them
account.
anyway.
I had to go to the Embleton branch, sorry, not Embleton, the Ellenbrook branch up here, for 2 hours to show ID. The manager was furious that it even happened. They did activate the account, but it is quite, when they lock it, for whatever reason, it is so hard for you to go in and say, this is me, I'm proving that it's me. So even your own money They're very strict because they're worried that there's a lot of scammers out there now.
Yeah.
Would you ever do something like that, Suzanne? Rip off-
Absolutely not. I struggle to remember my own name. So it's much easier.
We're
just
that
to
close to death anyway. Because of our age.
It's easier just to
why would I have to fake it?
keep with the truth, because then you only have to remember one thing.
You're very, very true. I give her courage. That's about it, and maybe 10-year sentence for doing it. But I think as well, she was only in her 42, I believe she was.
Well, that's why it was so believable. Yeah.
42-year-old having to fake her death, and she looked like she was a pretty successful businesswoman. So she didn't need the money by the looks of it. So who knows why she? Does it say why she did it?
No,
Apart
but
from
maybe
greed?
funsies is usually a good reason.
What do you reckon, Bernadette?
Look, I want to keep my life drama-free. I would never do anything like this.
Yep.
I think, look, if she was already a successful businesswoman,
Why did
wouldn't she be better just open up a
Yep.
new business, fresh start, and go from there?
She's not going to open a deli.
She's a corner shop here. It would have been a great idea.
I must admit, I did enjoy seeing that Channel 9, the doorstop thing where they run after the person in the street and harass them.
Old school
And
journalism.
I thought that was quite funny. Suzanne, what's your story?
Well, we're in a bit of a
Pickle.
housing crisis at the moment, as we know, and it's not just here in Perth. It's around the world. So different places are dealing with it in different ways. And in Barcelona, one of the local mayors wants to cut out the ability to rent out your apartment per se, or your house, for tourists.
Yep.
They want them to have these houses available for residents, for citizens.
They're looking at doing this next year, aren't they?
2028, so it's still a couple of
2028,
years
so
away.
they're giving people time.
Yeah, giving time. Of course, this goes against the whole idea of Airbnb. So they've asked them for comment. They haven't had anything back, because I'm sure they don't agree with any of this. But the point is that we don't have enough space for people. Even when you apply it to here, we don't have enough spaces for people to live. And
Yep.
when there are spaces being kept aside for tourists, for luxurious purposes, then is that really in the interests of the rest of our
No.
community?
And the whole idea about this is saying, well, there's a crisis with housing at the moment. A lot of people are homeless, families can't get housing. You've got wealthy people and sometimes not so wealthy people that have invested heavily to make a killing at the moment because the prices are quite high. You're paying it on average about $750 a week rent. So what the government of Spain has done, which I think is a great idea, they're saying, well, no, if you've got housing, use it for people that are homeless for a few years. They're giving people notice. But maybe we should do here, as a council, the City of Vincent, do you think that's a great idea to help people in your area as well that can't get housing?
I'm personally a big believer in that I think we need to be encouraging people to use the housing resources that we have to accommodate as many people as we can. People are obviously doing this as a bit of a side hustle, a business, and I understand that, they have that right, they have that opportunity, but I just don't think it's morally the right thing to be doing right at this point in time.
Yeah,
we
it's
have
probably-
hotels,
yeah.
let them deal with
They're
it, and
empty.
let's
Yeah, I
let
agree.
people get accommodation.
Yeah, I think B&B has become a big money maker. I know a lot of people are getting $300 and $400 a week. I know one person that used to work with us here, their father rented out their house for $850 a week, and they've actually gone and rented another house for themselves, and there's all tax things that they can apply for. $850 a week for a house that was only worth $400,
Yeah.
Incredible, and people are doing it. What do you reckon, Alex?
I think it says a lot
Alexander?
about. Thank you, Fred. I think it says a lot about the disruption of industries when you look at something like Airbnb has come in and disrupted the entire hotel industry, and then, but in doing so, have caused a lot of hotels to close down because they cannot compete with that kind of infrastructure on a global scale. And now that they kind of control it, we are actually at the whims of things like Airbnb.
Yep.
Same thing with Uber, comes in and disrupts the taxi industry.
Correct.
We're basically at the whims of these international kind of
They were great
conglomerates.
ideas when they first came out,
And
but
they
they've
come in
been
with a great
abused.
price point, nice and low at the start, then suddenly surge price in, and and we're left to be like, yeah, governments are the only ones who can technically step in and stop that now, because how can you tell
agree.
someone you're not allowed to do that anymore? They're like, well, that's not fair to me. I'm making money.
Millions,
It's my right. You're
thousands.
going to remove my money, right?
Agree. Bernadette, you're the last one.
I was speaking to a lady a couple of weeks ago, and she said she knew someone who is renting out a chalet in a caravan park for $1,000 a week.
they're making
so you
it-
mentioned
they're making it
$850, and it's just, I think that they're taking advantage of.
So we all agree B&B and those temporary
Yeah.
rentals maybe should be put on hold for a while, and that housing should go to people who need it.
Who need it? 100%.
Well done. Thank you to Susie Warner. Thank you for coming in. Nice to talk to you. We'll see you again soon. Alexander Secosta, you're back later in the show.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. And Bernadette, you're back in a couple of weeks, I think, with another
you.
one
I
of your
look forward
Talking
to it.
Fashions. Thank you for being with
you.
us. And thank you for watching the segment. We're going to take a very quick break. Steve Collins has got a show coming up in Darwin. We're also talking Darwin with him as a tourist destination coming up on the couch right here from Ellenbrook. See you soon. Welcome back to the couch on this Sunday night. Hope you're enjoying the program, as I always do when Steve Collins is on talking
course you do.
talking
Of
travel.
course.
Welcome back.
Well,
and we're talking
thank you
comedy. You're trying to be funny as well.
No, I don't have to try to be funny.
No, you're
I am
natural.
naturally humorous.
You're going up to Darwin very
Yeah,
soon,
yeah.
and I love Darwin, and
Yeah,
you've
so
got a
do I.
son that lives up there, and you're going to be up there for a while.
A couple of weeks, yeah. Well, because part of it is I'm going up to Darwin Fringe, which we will talk about. It's a very good fringe festival, but also because our son has got to go away for business.
Yep.
So he invites us to go and house and a dog sit. I love his dog. Megs, she's beautiful, so that's never a burden to go up there and do that. And it is the best time of the year to
And
go up there.
Tell us a little bit about Darwin for those people
All
who
right.
have never been.
Okay, well, Darwin, named after Charles Darwin, believe it or not, because he had actually visited the area, because it is quite unique as far as the flora and fauna is concerned. But it is a lovely tropical city. It's not all that big. I think it's got a population of about 200 to 250,000
Wow.
people. But it is gorgeous. The colours of Darwin Harbour. Darwin Harbour is one of the biggest harbours in Australia, and it is just magnificent. The water is a deep turquoise blue.
It is beautiful.
And it's a very, very modern city, and they always have functions there. This is part of the Darwin Festival here, and at this time of year, it is just so gorgeous. It's about 30 degrees, but there's no humidity,
At this
because if
time?
you go up there
Yes.
around Christmas time, it's
very
very, very
hot.
humid, like 100% humid. This is Cullen Bay, and this is Desart. So now, when you go to Darwin, you've got to go and see the crocodiles, and this is Crocodilus.
You gotta catch your own dinner.
Well, yeah, what you do is you feed them a chook, and they leap up and they grab it, and there's thousands of them, and you can actually eat a crocodile if you want. Crocodile meat's actually really good.
is very
it's,
popular
It's,
up
it's
there.
like a cross between turkey and fish.
Oh.
Now, this is the Mindel Markets we just saw. That's on every Wednesday and Saturday this season. This is Stokes Wharf, which is on Darwin Harbour. The sunsets there are absolutely glorious. At this time of year, during the peak season, they bring this big wheel in, and it's amazing. When you ride that thing, the views that you get over Darwin are absolutely fantastic. But there's so much to do there. Their museum is wonderful, but it's also frightening because they've got the Cyclone Tracy display, and you go in there, they've got this room, it's sealed, you get in there and you experience what it was like, because most of the people hid in their bathrooms
Yes.
during cyclone, and you could discover what it was like with that wind and that noise
fear.
and everything, and stuff hitting your house that was blown around. And I
so
love
that's
it, but
simulated,
for
is
a
it?
lot of people, it's
Oh.
not simulated, it is the actual sound.
Oh, wow.
Because it was recorded by the ABC at the time, and most people are terrified. It lasts about a minute or so you're not in there for long. But that's a wonderful display.
It's truly a beautiful place, but
Oh
it is
yeah,
an
but it
incredibly
is.
beautiful
It's just
place
gorgeous.
in Australia.
It's not the sort of place where you can go and swim freely at the beaches.
Well, you can if you want to get
Well, you
into it.
can if you like crocodiles, but the other thing is, when you get to Darwin itself, right down there near the foreshore, in the middle of the city, they've got an area there where it is safe to swim. It's a beautiful little beach, like metres from the centre of the city. And they also have a wave pool there as well, so if you can take your surfboard and do a bit of surfing.
Yep.
But there is a nude beach up there at Casuarina
no
Beach.
one ever told me.
No, well, I went onto it once and all they yelled out was, she blows! And they started throwing harpoons at me for some reason.
I thought that was the old joke, yes, and you got it in before I did. Hey, do you know, the greatest thing about Darwin, look, even when it is humid up there, like you said, the actual port, the harbour there, I got to meet Prince Charles when I went up there.
Oh, did you?
They were recording MasterChef.
I met his father.
And Prince Charles came out, and the PR ladies, there was about 500 people waiting for him. And they said to us, he won't come past you, he won't meet you, he won't talk to you, he's going to come straight in. He was there for a Flying Doctor sort of tribute thing.
Well, on this Stokes Wharf, there's a Flying Doctor.
Correct, and that's where he was
great,
coming.
yeah.
But Prince Charles, being Prince Charles, he got out of the car and went and met all the public. He went against all the security advice. And it was really amazing because it's the first time I've ever met him. But MasterChef was recording there and it was truly beautiful.
Well, you know why MasterChef was recording there? Because Darwin has some of the best food in Australia. The produce is all fresh. It has got the best seafood platter I've ever had anywhere is on Darwin Wharf.
They do a
it is amazing
buffet.
because they've got all these mud crabs and stuff that you just don't get.
Plenty of shopping for those people. There's plenty of medical services. There's hospitals up there.
Everything.
There's
a lot
car
of good
yards.
facilities,
Lots of people live up there, and it is such a beautiful part of Australia to live.
And it's very, very laid back, and you know that you're in a tropical city. And sometimes it could be a little bit too laid back, but no, it's just great. You get up there and relax. So it is brilliant, But just out of Darwin, of course, there's some great attractions as well. Now, I'm staying within 2 hours of Darwin, and one of the great places to visit is Litchfield National Park, which is about 90 minutes. That's Wongi Falls. There's a lot of waterfalls there. Now, you've got no danger of crocodiles there because you can only swim there in the dry season because they get rid of all the crocs that come in during the wet season. These falls, the water is it's fresh water. It's so great to swim in. I went four-wheel driving with my son, and this is driving along a creek bed, you know. This is what you can do up there. Because it's 15,000 square kilometres or something. It's
lovely
huge.
house your son's
got.
That
is, they used to have a mine there, and that's all it was. And you've got these massive termite mines, termite mounds. These things are 3 and 4 metres high. They tower over me. Beautiful. They're just massive. You can see them. And so, this bull, he didn't want us to proceed. No. And we didn't. So he just walked off. But this is the other one, Corroboree Billabong, which is on the way. It's about 2 hours out of Darwin. This is absolutely fantastic. You get on this little boat and you just go through the wetlands here. Now, the main thing to do is you see all the top 5 birds that they have in the Northern Territory.
Amazing.
And they're fantastic, and you're pretty much guaranteed to see them. And then, of course, you've got to see the crocodiles because they're all there. And you get up, they don't worry about you because they're so used to seeing tourists, but they also get well fed.
You've got to be very, very careful up there. If you go to restaurants, you'll find fences around everything. But Steve, our director's told me I've got 3.5 minutes to promote the other great thing about Darwin, and that's because you're going up there.
Steve Collins is slightly warped. Yes. This is my Darwin Fringe show. It's in July. I've got 3 performances.
There's the poster.
That's me. That's the one on.
I don't notice anything
16th
different
and
about
17th.
that photo.
Yeah, look, I've got a little odd body there. I don't know what happened there.
A bit twisted.
A bit twisted. And so this is my comedy. I've been doing comedy for quite a long time, and I thought, well, I'm going to be up in Darwin anyway.
What can we expect at your show?
Well, that's very good. It's basically the mad ravings of a septuagenarian, but I have a lot of interesting views on life, and I'm good. I like to send up a lot of stuff. I get stuck into the Gen Zers, you know, the gloomers as I call them, because they've got such a bloody dark outlook on life. But I talk about the rock and roll and some of the things that the bands are bringing out, like the for people that have got bowel cancer, the Rolling Stones colostomy bag, which is I don't think they've got the lapping tongue on it, and all sorts of stuff. I've designed a new flag, a revolutionary new
You're
Australian
going to premiere
flag
it, are you, on your show?
that will revolutionise flag making, and everybody in the world will know about this flag when they actually see it. There's no Union Jack, there's no Southern Cross on it. It is completely.
How long is the show?
About 45, 50
Not
minutes.
bad. Yeah, good
of me
listen.
warbling on, you know.
And you've got 2 shows up. Tell us where they're
Well,
going to be.
I got 3. I got
3.
one
Go on.
at Dom's Bar and Cafe in a place called Nightcliff, which is
Yep.
a great little suburb
It is a
right by
beautiful place.
the coast, and another in the centre of the city in Cavenagh Street at Top Floor Comedy, which is a brilliant. I've played there before. It is a brilliant comedy room, and it's right on the main street. And it's part of the Last Supper Pizzeria, which does great pizzas as well. So if you don't like the show, walk out and buy a pizza. But yeah, no, you can book online. Trybooking.com. You'll see the show there. And I've got 2 shows on the 16th and
It's a Tuesday
17th
and
of June,
Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 p.m.
I was going to say, 8 o'clock at night, so perfect, straight after
And,
work.
and look, there's so much to do there. I mean, there's a really good gin bar just behind where I'm performing.
Before
And that's
or
lovely.
after the show? either.
Well, after you see my performance, you will want to go in there and have a couple of gins, probably.
Well
no,
done.
it's great. Yeah,
Well,
it's,
enjoy your show. Enjoy.
you.
We'd love people to go out and book on trybooking.com. Look for Steve Collins. He's got 3 shows
Slightly
coming
Warped.
up there. Slightly Warped is
I mean,
the show.
there's slightly is a misnomer. Let's face
Well,
it.
yes.
You know me well.
I'd say
he's
more than-
undersold himself there.
I would get rid of the word warped and just call slightly.
Slightly. There's
It's just
nothing
slightly.
slight about me, as you know, Fred.
Thank you, Steve. Look, have a wonderful time in
Will do.
Darwin. Have a great show.
Yep.
You go and see him. He's very funny, even funnier than he is on set here, because he has to keep it under wraps for the night.
I have to be restricted here.
And there's your website for your
Thank you.
fantastic videos.
Oh
as well.
yeah. Please tell
We'd
me
love
where to
people
go.
and,
which is my YouTube channel, which has been getting a lot of views.
I bet they
because
have
I've been putting up a series of weird and obscure words that we should be dropping into everyday life.
Sounds
and
good.
They've been really popular.
We're going to have to do that on the show
Oh,
here
we
when you
will.
come back. Steve Collins on the couch, talking travel, talking comedy. Book for his comedy show up at the top end in Darwin if you're there, or maybe go for a little holiday. Darwin, what a beautiful,
worth it.
beautiful place.
Got to
It
go
is
to Darwin.
A wonderful part of Australia. We've got some music as well. Joshua Aston is performing for us now on the couch, and then we'll talk to Ranger Red. Here's Joshua.
Have you seen the well-to-do up on Lenox Avenue, on that famous thoroughfare with their noses in the air, high hats and narrow collars, white spats and $15, spending every dime on a wonderful time? If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz, spangled gowns upon a bevy of high browns from down the levee, all misfits are putting on the Ritz. That's where each and every Lulu Belle goes, every Thursday evening with their swell bows. Rubbing elbows, come with me and we'll attend the Jubilee. See them spend their last 2 bits putting on the Ritz. Have you seen the well-to-do up on Lenox Avenue, on that famous thoroughfare with their noses in the air, high hats and narrow collars, white spats and $15, spending every dime on a wonderful time? If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits? Putting on the Ritz, spangled gowns upon a bevy of high browns from down the levee, all misfits are putting on the Ritz. That's where each and every Lulu Belle goes, every Thursday evening with their swell bows. Rubbing elbows, come with me and we'll attend the Jubilee. See them spend their last 2 bits putting on the Ritz.
Joshua Ashton. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see him at the end of the show. Thank you very much. He's in our Performing Arts Centre downstairs, just downstairs here at the Performing Arts building at the Ellenbrook Secondary College. Someone that's sitting right next to me, Bud, here in Media 3 is our very own Ranger Red, and with him is our very own Nisha, looking great in green.
Oh,
Over
wonderful.
to you.
Thank you, Fred. I feel like I do match
You're
today's
covered in
segment
green.
very well. Yeah. Welcome, Ranger Red, again.
Thanks for having me.
So we're really excited to have you back on board because there's been a lot happening with the
Yes.
zoo, obviously, here in Western Australia. For those that might have missed out on the last segment, give us a bit of an update.
So, on the last segment, it was week before we had the Australasian Zoological Conference, which was held at the South Perth Zoological Gardens, and we were able to officially make two announcements. One is that a letter of engagement has been signed for us to start work on the new premises where we will be relocating, but we've also signed an affiliate deal with a company in India called LSET, and it's for them to be able to send some of their zoological students to come and work with us and learn how to care and manage Australian marsupials and wildlife in captive settings in India.
Fantastic. So what does this mean for the zoo moving to the new location? And where is the new location?
Okay, the new location is at Preston Beach, literally on the Forest Highway. The other, so obviously we'll become an official training facility. We'll have a cafe on site. The charity will run a vet clinic there for wildlife carers.
Fantastic.
And I was even speaking to Mark Jones, who's a renowned documentary maker based in Broome, and we'll probably even work on making a documentary from the day that we first bring the surveyors on site and sink the first bore right to the completion and the first of the public coming in. So we're probably looking at about 3 years on that project.
Wow, well, you're going to be a very busy man, and we're looking forward to following the journey. I think over even the last few years on the couch, you've shared with us lots of different little animals, marsupials. We're trying to get some koalas in very soon. But the reason we are sitting amongst some really nice foliage here is because we are going to talk about nature as well in the zoo, aren't we?
Yes, so a lot of people think of zoos, they're classed as zoological boards, and when you have botanical gardens, they have botanical boards. So often zoological boards and botanical boards are managed by the same committee and whatnot, and that's because zoos aren't just about displaying and educating about animals, they're about educating about natural nature, and plants are really important in so many aspects, both for the care and the welfare of the animals, in beautifying the grounds, and also creating peace and inner harmony with the guests that come through.
Wonderful. Yes, we did have Dr. Jenny Brockes last week telling us that nature and well-being are linked. So this is great segue. Now we've got the bamboo. So talk us through the bamboo.
So bamboos are often associated with zoos, one because it's trying to create the jungle feel and that. But the thing about bamboos is, even though it's not native to Australia, our animals will still eat it, and because it's so fast growing and it replenishes so easily, things like stalks can be used in cockatoo and parrot enclosures, and they chew them, so that creates what's called enrichment. And then things like the kangaroos and that, they'll eat the soft leaves, and then things like the camels and the goats and that, they'll eat the stalk of these. So but we also have to be aware that, especially in WA and Queensland, they are classed as a not just weed in some ways because they have that amazing ability to spread. So we have to take into the consideration of what's on the outside of the zoo and how we care and maintain and prevent that from happening.
Wonderful. Well, Sue McDougall will be very happy with you, with the Director of WA Botanics, who talked about your links. And we've got a native here as well, the eucalyptus, which I just learnt before we went on air that I cannot eat, but my friends the koalas can eat.
So obviously, we think of koalas when we see eucalyptus, and it's quite funny. So out of we harvest 6 different species, and our koalas have 3 favourites. But there's 36 species that you can feed koalas, and we've only got 2 koalas at our zoo, but we harvest 3 days a week. At the conference, I was speaking to a couple of facilities, one of them based in Queensland, that has a captive population of 90 koalas, and they have 2 full-time staff every day that go out harvesting the eucalyptus and that.
Yeah, gee.
But again, there's a secondary byproduct, because you'll see the young tender leaf of these, and they don't want to eat the harder leaf, so a lot of that becomes a waste product. So we recycle it in a couple of ways. One, in giving it to the birds and that, again, as enrichment, putting it into the kangaroos enclosure because they like to eat the bark off it, and then it then goes into being put through a mulcher, and it becomes mulch that we can use to put in the grounds of the zoo to protect the soil from the sun, to help give the soil some body and everything and that. So yeah.
Gosh, always great insights and so knowledgeable. And there's so much to this area, isn't there? You're mentioning the Department of Biodiversity and Attraction that pulls together all of the agencies.
So in Western Australia, we have Department of Biodiversities and Attractions, and their management committee literally is the manager of our Zoological Garden Perth Zoo, Kings Park Botanical Gardens, and even Rottnest Island is managed by that department.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm sure that our audience would like to ask you more questions at some stage. Where would they find out more?
They can go to our website, which is red@redzoo.com.au, and they can send us some questions there and whatnot, or actually come to the zoo in person and ask us the questions when you come in. Or, with school holidays coming up as of next week, send your kids along for a keeper for a day.
Excellent. Will you have ice cream?
We will.
Excellent. And everything else. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you back on the couch, and can't wait to see what critters you bring in next.
Yeah, no problems. Thank you for having us.
Just gentle push. Thanks so much. If you missed any of that, of course, you can go to thecouch.com.au, our Facebook page. But for now, it's back to you, Fred.
Thank you very much, and be careful, Red. If you see a lady dressed in green camouflage wanting ice cream, she's not a little kid. That is, of course, of course you are, of course you are. redzoo.com.au, please support them. They're wonderful, and great news coming up with a new location in the next couple of years as well. We're going to take a break on the couch. If you're watching us online, Dr. Paula Smith is coming up in the break as a Couch Extra. Watch that coming up next, and more of the couch on Foxtel next, here on Foxtel. See you then. Welcome back to the couch. Always nice to have your company, and thank you for joining us. Dr. Paula is up next, talking expert communication techniques with our very own expert communicator, Nisha Seth. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Fred. That was a lovely introduction. Welcome back to the couch, Dr. Paula.
Thank you. Always great to be here.
Now I believe congratulations is in order for more time spent with your grandbaby.
Yes, I'm now a nana. and because my last name's Smith, they insist I'm going to be called Granny Smith.
Granny Smith, I love that.
I'm not going there.
You should be wearing this today.
It's Nana Paula. I'm not going to answer to Granny Smith.
Okay. That's interesting if your son gets to the baby first.
Yeah, that's right.
Very nice, very nice. And you're so beautiful when you got new parts to the family, right? You were just telling me you've got a keynote later in the week, and you're going to integrate the story into that in terms
of
your
I am.
experience.
So stories are a beautiful way of integrating it into keynotes and what I do. Because really we're just a whole bunch of stories.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. So today we're talking about the science of personality.
Yes, we are. No, I think it's really important. We all want to get along with all those around us. Well, most of us want to anyway. And so the more we understand about human behaviour and just the science around personality, the easier it is to get along with those around us.
Yeah, so it's really interesting getting along with others, but also nature versus nurture. So is there actually a science to personality?
Yeah, look, there really is. So if we talk about nature versus nurture, let's talk about nature. So we are all born born with an innate personality. It's not always about how we're raised. But there's always been that argument is, are leaders born or made? Or, is it our personalities or is it the way that we're raised? And all the research points to is actually both. So if you think about nature, we're all born with this innate personality. And how you were when you maybe were 9 years old is pretty much how your personality will be when you're 29 years of age.
Interesting.
So, I remember my parents bought me a desk for my birthday when I was 9, and it has one of those with all those little compartments, and I spent my whole day labelling everything. So, and my sister thought it was the worst present in the world to get. And she's not very structured, but even now today I'm quite a structured individual.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you did. So we've talked about nature. I won't digress into another story. I'll get you to talk about nurture now before we do that.
Yeah. So, well, the nature versus nurture. The nurture is basically how we're raised, and both of them are integrated together. So, it's depending on how we're raised and our experiences throughout our life, will not perhaps change our innate personality, but it will drive some of our behaviours. Yeah. And what's really interesting now is, have you ever had DNA testing?
I have had DNA testing. Yeah.
Well, so the DNA testing, like through Ancestry.com, one of those, and now it shares who you're related with, but they've added like a new section now of traits. So you can actually have a look at your 30 to 40 different traits. And for example, my daughter, who's nearly 18, and we had her DNA done, and just through a tiny little spit in a jar, it said that your daughter is a redhead. Yes, she has curly hair. She's an introvert with pale skin. She doesn't get hangry, and she may enjoy watching sports. And it was totally right. Just
Wow,
through a
very
little
helpful.
bit of a spit in the jar.
Yeah.
So genetics play a huge part in our personality.
Wow, isn't that
yeah.
interesting? And when we look at nature versus nurture, I believe there was a longitudinal study, the Dunedin study. Tell us about that.
Yeah, now many people may have heard about the marshmallow test. Is when you put, I think there were 4-year-olds in a room, and they left them with some marshmallows and said, if you don't eat them now, when we come back, that you can have some more.
Yeah.
And then they just observed these children, and but the Dunedin study, they actually watched or researched, I think it was 1,073 babies born from 1972 to 1973, and they have studied them. They're in their 50s now. They've studied every part of their life. But back to that marshmallow test, basically said the more self-control you had as a 4-year-old child was almost like a predictor was how healthy or wealthy you'll be in future life.
Interesting.
It's really
Self-control
interesting.
and discipline, all the things we do here. What are your thoughts in terms of, because you run a lot of workshops, right? And you must talk about personality all the time. How does this come into play in your corporate work?
Well, the more you understand about human behaviour and personality, it makes you a better communicator, helps you become a better leader, helps you to be able to get along with everyone, hence it enhances your relationships with those around you as well. And in the workplace, there's lots of tools and assessments as well that they use in the workplace.
Yeah.
I think the Big Five is probably maybe the most well known. I don't know if you've worked with the Big Five before being a psychologist.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, what's important is the mixture, and we were discussing this before as well, of behaviour and personality and experiential learning as well, which I know is something that is really important to you when you run your workshops. You have your own psychometric tool, don't you?
Yes, so the one that we developed, there wasn't one that I totally loved when I was, searching as an expert sort of in this field. So we created our own called Relate, and there's 8 areas. So we look at personality, we also look at past experiences, we look at values, introversion and extroversion, but also the leadership approach as well. Yeah. And because your personality, although your personality doesn't always determine what a great leader you will be, there will be some traits that will lean towards certain or different leadership approaches as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're learning in those workshops with senior leaders, they're viscerally, like they're learning from you, and it has to relate. And I think some of the challenges with some clinical instruments, as robust as they might be, is it's very hard for them to translate into how do I enhance my behaviour or my skills towards someone, as opposed to, academic, reading a book kind of thing.
Yeah, so not everybody wants to do, a 300, questionnaire to figure out who they are.
Yes.
So they want something that's easy to understand, but also something that they can share with their teams as well. Something that they can run maybe their own little workshops and just something that's nice and that they can speak in layman's terms around, that they can easily understand to get along really well
Yeah, excellent.
with those around them.
being fit for purpose is something
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
very important. So, Dr. Paula, what do you have on your agenda over the next few weeks?
I've got lots of keynotes actually.
Yep.
So, which is sometimes I do lots and lots of training. Other time I'm doing lots of keynotes. So I have a few keynotes coming up, and which I really look forward to. But not all in the same topic, which is great. So every keynote is sort of customised and contextualised for the audience, which is lots of fun as well. And it's filled with stories. It's always got to have stories in it.
Wonderful. And you work one-on-one with clients as well who may want to work on their presentation or leadership skills. Where do they find out more about you?
Yeah, they can go straight to my website, which is paulasmith.com.au.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the couch again. We'll look forward to having you on in another few weeks, even more loved up from your
From my grandbaby.
Yeah. Granny Smith. No.
No, it's Nana Paula.
I won't say that again, I promise.
I did say to my son, if he calls me Granny Smith, he'll get an apple. If he calls me Nana Paula, it's chocolates and lollies all round.
What do you do when your mum is a leadership communication expert? We'll see you very soon. And if you've missed any of that, any of the information, go to thecouch.com.au, our Facebook page as well. But for now, it's back to you, Fred. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paula and Dr. Paula. It's got a very crispy crunch to that name. I don't know why. But they reckon an apple a day will keep the doctor away. So,
exactly
hey,
right.
sounds fantastic. Please support Paula Smith. She can help you with all sorts of communication questions you may have. Please contact her, go through her website, and support the people who support us on the couch as well. Thank you. We'll take a break. More of the couch coming up straight after this.
Connect with the couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the couch. Nice to have your company. It's time for us to talk streaming. Paul Elwyn is back. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff for
There
streaming.
is.
And what I've got for everybody is a little bit of crime, a bit of time travel, and a little bit of nostalgia, and at the end, my pick as well. The whole thing is it's winter and it's getting nice and cold, so the best thing is to snuggle up and watch like a juicy, suspenseful crime kind of story. So I've got a couple here for you.
I do like a bit of crime.
Oh, crime time is fun.
Or murders.
The first one I got, not exactly crime, but probably more so like a sort of therapy piece. On Netflix, it's huge because there's a lot of controversy behind it, but it's Baby Reindeer. So essentially a floundering comedian, and this is actually the real guy who wrote this whole story as well, and it actually happened to him. But the whole controversy is, did all of this exactly happen to him exactly how you see it? Of course, Netflix would embellish it in the whole story. It's shot really well though. Baby Reindeer, there's 7 half-hour episodes you can binge on right now. Richard Gadd is a comedian. He plays pretty much the same character with a new name called Donnie. He gets stalked by a lady called Martha, and the trouble is he's a floundering comedian, so the whole thing is the only adoration he gets half the time is actually from the stalker. So do you sort of try and stop things, or do you sort of egg this person on? And then you find out later on that that's not the only trauma that he's had. He's had some trauma in the past, and that's actually probably not resolved as well. All of this builds up, and then you find out in the end what does happen to
So
him.
is it a comedy or more of a serious
It's
stuff?
quite serious.
Oh, so it's
You
quite
try-
deep. So there's a lot of
you try
comedy
and
in
find
it.
something funny in it, and no, and the whole thing is in this one, it sort of feels like there's no real heroes in the story as well. He's a comedian, and you think, oh, he's being victimized, but then you go, no, wait, he's actually had some issues before that hasn't been resolved as well. So this one, not exactly
And
crime,
it's a
but
series, isn't it?
It's a series. Baby Reindeer. It's all on Netflix. There's 7 episodes to try out, to check out, and the whole thing is, it's how you deal with a stalker, but not exactly in the best sense, but quite realistic. But the trouble is, the real life Marthas come out as well, and everyone's going, oh, wait, are they actually friends or not? What's going on with that? So that's controversy
Sounds
that's on the
interesting.
side as well for Baby
Under the
Reindeer.
Bridge.
So this one is actually closer to a real life crime drama. Under the Bridge, 8 episodes. This is on Disney Plus. All 8 episodes you can watch now. They're all about 47 minutes. This deals with an actual real life murder, real life situation where a toxic group of friends, they're sort of not well off per se, but they're all like in this small sleepy town of Swanage in British Columbia, Canada. This is a true story in the 90s where a young girl, 14-year-old Rena Verk, was actually
assaulted by her friends, and then in the end, something's resulted in her death. And what's happened is our main writer, who's actually written this best-selling book in real life, and it's played by Riley Keough, who has a famous mum, Lisa Marie Presley.
Yep.
She plays the main writer in this, Rebel Godfrey, who wrote the book and everything. Unfortunately, the real-life Rebel Godfrey died a couple of years before this series actually got made, but they consulted with her fully on the character and all of these, and the names have been slightly changed, but if you look it up, you realise, oh, this person correlates to this person. And the cool thing about this is the actual entire situation unfolds. It starts off as a missing person case, but after a couple of weeks, they find the body. Oh, it's getting serious. So this one, very good crime drama that everyone's enjoying. Yeah, Under the Bridge, based on the best-selling book.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And Bodkin.
Bodkin.
What a
This
name.
one's completely fictional. Bodkin is an Irish town. I think it's actually a real Irish town, though. Bodkin, this one's complete fiction. During a festival, three completely different stranger people get missing. So there was a murder case, but not exactly. The town's sheriff, per se, really isn't doing anything about it. So they investigate it. Will Forte from Saturday Night Live and from Last Man on Earth is in this as one of three people that are doing a podcast about it. So this is crime podcasting. It's not exactly comedic, but the whole thing is it's all about them trying to investigate this sort of missing person / murder in this town. The town's not really helping. So you're trying to find out what's the connection in the town with everybody to this situation. So yeah, the entire series is available to stream. And yeah, it's Bodkin with Will Forte.
That's a Netflix one as well.
Yeah, so that's on Netflix. It's interesting if you like to it's very slowly drawn out, but you get to meet all of these interesting characters in the town, and the whole thing is like who is really being a friendly person that's helping and who is actually probably a person that was involved in the crime. So
Now,
an interesting one.
You're obviously into your Doctor Who.
So yeah, we
and this
start
is the
to get
new
into
Doctor
time
Who.
travel now. So Doctor Who, of course, like it's the ongoing BBC series that's been going on for a good 60 years.
I was going to say 60 years.
My favourite, Tom Baker, but also you've got Neil Tennant.
Is Tom Baker still alive?
No, he passed away.
He passed
yeah.
away.
So, so this one is the 15th generation Doctor Who, played by the amazingly charming Nigerian-born actor Nkuti Gatwa.
Have you noticed they've changed the actual personality of the Doctor over the years?
The whole thing is because the Doctor regenerates every time something bad happens to him. They sort of go like, oh, his personality has changed slightly. His dress sense has always changed slightly as well. So yeah, this guy is interesting. Very cool character. Spoiler alert: there's not your exact sort of your Daleks and Cybermen aren't in this one. Like there's other new bad guys in this one. Interesting writing and everything. The whole controversy about this one. Mainly is because there is actually a story where there is a sort of bisexual gay storyline where they're sort of everyone's going, oh, I didn't know the Doctor was possibly gay, and you go, okay,
wow.
But it doesn't really ruin the writing. This is really interesting adventures still of the Doctor. So this is the entire. They've redone it. It's if you look it up, it's 2024 season 1 of the Doctor, and obviously the previous ones. What happened was BBC needed money, and Disney said, here's a lot of money, and they said fine, and you get the rights to it. So all of this latest season of Doctor Who is all on Disney Plus.
Fantastic. Now, I'm sure there'll be lots of fans, regardless of which way the Doctor goes. I think there'll be heaps of fans that just love, if you see Doctor Who, they want to see it.
For me, as long as everyone gets to hop in the TARDIS and travel anywhere, it's a lot of fun. So I'm fine with it.
Out of range.
Out of range. So at least in the TARDIS, you know where and when you get to travel. Out of range. This is season 2's finished up. Josh Brolin is playing the ranch owner, Royal Abbott. Essentially in season 1, he finds a huge hole in the ground. What's going on with the hole in the ground? There's many time travel secrets with it. You put your arm in, you can actually see into the future. He actually falls into the hole. So in season 1, you sort of get a glimpse of what happens with this strange void. And what happens is in season 1, there's a missing kid. A mysterious person arrives to his ranch and wants to camp there. Season 2, if you're a fan of Lost, and you like really convoluted stories that get confusing, and every time one part of the story is wrapped up, there's about 3 new ideas that come up, then yeah, season 2 for Outer Range would be for you on Amazon Prime. What happens is all of a sudden in season 2, you get to find out there's actually people that have travelled through this portal before that were living in the current time. You also get to travel further back in time. It's haphazard because the portal just does random things. And in one episode, the portal's actually gone, but it comes back. It's crazy writing, but the thing is, you're hoping that in season 3 something's resolved. So if you like things that are sci-fi, a little bit cowboy-ish, and not resolved, then
Outer Range.
Outer Range.
X-Men 97, we've got 2 minutes for the whole lot.
Sorry. X-Men 97, great bit of nostalgia. X-Men back in the 90s. It ended on a cliffhanger. They just said, let's animate this. They resolve this and they do news stories. It's been updated. Magneto gets to be the leader of the X-Men for a while. Mr. Sinister clones Jean Grey. So Cyclops has a bit of a confusing relationship because he now has a clone to deal with.
Of course.
It's all crazy. Cyclops actually gets to be more of a main character than Wolverine in this one. So it's just not a popularity contest per se. Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah, there's all the episodes, 8 episodes on Disney Plus to watch for that one as well.
And Paul's pick, it is of course Fallout on Amazon
My pick,
Prime.
based on the best-selling Bethesda games, there's heaps of games to check out for it. Fallout is essentially what if there was no rock and roll. There was a Cold War back in like the 40s. All of a sudden, nuclear fallout, mixture of people. There's people that live in the vaults. They're a bit more well off. There's people that got caught up in the whole mess of it. Some of them have mutated. There's also like armies such as the Brotherhood of Steel who steal all the technology and deal with that. So we're dealing with 2 or 3 characters through it. Primarily, one of the girls from the vault has to travel out into the world. So it's like fish out of water. A whole lot of fun. The whole season's there for you to watch for this one. And you don't have to play the game to enjoy it because they explain everything to you. So Fallout is very cool.
Do you remember, Paul, a show called The Tomorrow People? You probably a lot
Yeah,
younger
that was
than me. Do you remember? They used to have these big watches and they used to be able to teleport everyone. I wonder if they'll ever bring that back.
They should really look back at some
And
of
the
these
time
older
tunnel.
stories. And the cool thing is, like X-Men, just carry them on. Don't reboot them. Carry them on.
Carry them
It's a
on
lot of
rather than
fun.
try and recreate them.
Yeah.
Paul Elwood, thank you very much. We'll
Thanks,
talk
Fred.
movies in the next week or two.
Yes.
As always, thank you very much for coming in. We're talking streaming with Paul. We'll take a break. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to Alexander of Victoria about a fantastic charity called Kind Hearted Australia. They've got a quiz night. We'll tell you all about it next on The Couch.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to The Couch. Always nice to talk charity. And today we've got a fantastic charity called Kind Hearted Australia. And we've got the lady who runs the charity with us today. Victoria, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you
and
for
welcome to
having
The
me.
Couch. And with us is our very own Alexander as well, who's the MC, which we'll talk to you as well. Thank you for coming in and staying with us today too.
Always a pleasure, Fred.
Victoria, tell me a little bit about Kind Hearted Australia.
Kind Hearted has been running now for just over 3 years. We have dedicated ourselves to being able to focus on the domestic violence space and specifically the children and obviously their mothers that are escaping the terrible situation that so many families are going through, especially at the moment. We are now looking at our Kokoroninya initiative, which is to build long-term transitional housing for women and their children escaping domestic violence in WA.
Fantastic cause. We're going to talk about the quiz night, but let's check out the brand new TVC and then we'll come back and talk to Victoria and Alexander. That is, of course, the new promo for Kind Hearted Australia. Victoria Martelli is with us today. So you're the founder and director, and of course Alexander Sacosta is the MC host. Tell us about your quiz night that you're having very, very soon.
Well, we have our charity quiz night coming up on July 13 at the beautiful Pagoda Ballroom.
Yes, it is.
Alexander is our MC for the evening, and it is an 80s theme, so it's going to be lots of fun. Obviously for a very good cause, but we really want it to be the opportunity for people to become aware of Kind Hearted and Kokoronemia specifically, but also have a good time.
I think you've hit the nail right on the head. Now, it's going to be a great night. What can we expect on the night? I know we're going to have the quiz master himself.
Oh, you know, Fred.
What are you going to do on the night, Alexander?
Well, you know me, it's hard to stop me from singing. So I did mention to Victoria, she was saying, oh, we should have a bit of music. I was like, if you're asking me to sing 80s songs karaoke style with the audience, that is a yes from me. So we're definitely going to have some singing.
How many people can we hold? Because I know I've been to the Pagoda, I've had a Christmas ball there, and we could hold about 1,000. But how many would you like to come?
We're looking at up to 200.
200 people?
Yeah.
So that's 1,000 people? Forget it, you're not going to. So 200 people. How much are the tickets?
Tickets are only $35 each.
$35, that's a bargain. And what do you get for $35?
Well, $35, that's if they're individual. They drop to $30 if you get a half table of 5 or full table of 10 people.
Wonderful.
And that not only includes entry to the event, but it also includes a entry into the door prize, which is an overnight stay at the Pagoda, including breakfast worth over $300.
And you know what? They've got their own washing machine dryer in every room as well. One of those multi ones. I've stayed there many years ago, but they are a wonderful place, and I think we've done a breakfast there once or twice too. So can I ask you, Victoria, what can we expect on the night? I know we're going to do the quiz night. We're going to have a bit of music, lots of fun.
Lots of fun.
What about food and drinks? Is it available?
Food and drinks are available. There are some amazing platters that the Pagoda have put together specifically for this event that can be pre-purchased. There's no food available on the night. It is no BYO, but there are drinks that can be pre-purchased, and the bar will be open for a certain time on the night as well, just to allow people to get, you know, if they want spirits or something a bit more. And in terms of prizes, we have got some fantastic ones. We've got gorgeous mother of pearl stud earrings from Kalis Jewellery. We have overnight accommodation with breakfast from Bunker Bay Resort. We have an amazing, anyone with kids is going to love this, of a package of Adventure World, SciTech, Coburn Ice Arena, Outback Splash. So there's a lot up for grabs.
Great prizes for everybody.
Absolutely.
So is it a night for kids as well? Can they bring the children with them on the night? I mean, there's an age limit?
We're trying to make it more the 18 plus group, but it's certainly not necessarily, you know, as long as people are happy to look after their children and watch them on the night, there's no issues with that. We just think, obviously, sometimes parents, and myself included, like to get out and have a night with our kids.
That sounds fantastic. Give us, it's 13th of July.
13th of July,
Pagoda
Saturday.
Ballroom. For people who want to come along and get more information, what's your website?
Website is kindhearted.org.au, and ticket link is on there.
Some big things coming up. Alexander, do you want to urge people, give them a reason why they need to be part of this, apart from the fact it's a damn good cause?
Well, that's the thing, Fred. I think everyone's always saying, like, how do I help? How do I help? And even if, let's say, you're not able to come to the quiz night, maybe you live in a different state or maybe you're busy that night, share the message, because that's the key thing here.
Absolutely.
We want people to know that there are people in our very state here in Western Australia trying to enact change in our state for an issue that is very much prescient in our society right now.
Look, it's happening all around the world. The cause that you're helping is one that's a big issue at the moment around the world. So look, I think you're doing a great job.
I think one of the things that hasn't been focused on a lot, especially within the media and obviously in advocacy for areas of DV, is that the refuges are full. They can't take any more people. And also a lot of refuges don't take male kids. They don't take boys.
Really?
So
why is that? Why is that?
I think because depending on the areas, depending on the other people that are in those refuges, they have to be mindful of the male involvement. Obviously that is quite traumatic for a mother who's wanting to escape a situation.
Domestic violence,
And because the refuges are full, women can't get in there, but the women in the refuges have nowhere to go because of the rental crisis. So we're trying to fill that gap by actually making long-term, not short-term, long-term transitional housing that is purely dedicated to women getting away from that.
Look, domestic violence is a big talking point at the moment. It's a big issue as well, and it's a real issue, and I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Doing your part in helping out on this cause as well. 13th of July, it is of course the quiz night for Kind-Hearted Australia. Alexander's the MC, Victoria Martelli is the organiser. I'm sure you're going to be there all night, working incredibly hard. Lots of prizes to be won. We'd love you to get a table together. $35 a table, and if you have a group of 5, it drops down to $30. Did you say?
$30 per person. Yep.
Bargain. You can pre-order food, pre-order drinks, and be there on the night. That's the main important thing. Answer all the questions right, and you'll win yourself some great prizes
Fantastic
as well.
prizes.
And big event coming up next year as well with Kind-Hearted.
We do. We have the Metamorphosis Gala Ball, which will be the inaugural ball.
Yep.
Again, supporting Kind-Hearted and our domestic violence space, and that will be in May next year.
Sounds fantastic. We look forward to helping you out then. All the best of success for the quiz night with Alexander there. It's going to be a lot of fun. And please don't get him to sing. But unless he sings ABBA. Unless he sings ABBA.
I can sing some ABBA.
But look, wonderful job. Keep up the good work. Victoria, we'll see you again on the couch if we can help you with anything. We'd love to have you here. Thank you very much, Alexander. We'll see you in the next week or two. That is it for the couch today. Thank you for your company. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget to support all the people that support us here on the couch, and especially Kind-Hearted Australia. Very easy. If you've missed anything, check out our website. You'll see the show on YouTube and Facebook. To you in C31, you can catch it online, and C44 in Adelaide as well, or watch us on Foxtel all around Australia. Thank you for your company. Have a wonderful week. We'll leave you with Joshua Aston singing another wonderful song on the couch. Until then, keep smiling. Bye for now.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on a Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
On the couch with
This episode of The Couch is proudly supported by Retrovision. Shop with the confidence that you're getting the best price on offer. And Safety Compliance Global, taking care of all your safety requirements. thank you for supporting local.